something serious is happening at the Valero Texas Open, and if you follow the PGA Tour closely, you already feel it. The last tournament before the Masters, the 1 week where players are supposed to be locking in, building rhythm, and arriving at Augusta National with momentum, has been turned completely upside down. Not by bad weather, not by a shocking leaderboard, but by a wave of withdrawals that nobody saw coming at this scale. And the names involved are not fringe players. These are guys who were expected to compete, to qualify, and to show up ready. Instead, they're gone before the first real tee shot even lands. It started on Sunday when Pierce Suncuti, Nikolai Hodggaard, and Matty Schmid all pulled out of the field. That immediately opened spots for Taylor Moore, Joel Dahmen, and Sam Ryder. Unusual but manageable. Then on Monday, Gary Woodland, fresh off winning the Texas Children's Houston Open and securing his Masters berth, withdrew from San Antonio entirely. Jackson Suber stepped in to take his place. At that point, you think the bleeding has stopped. It hadn't. Daniel Berger and Collin Morikawa both announced their withdrawals next, opening the door for Lanto Griffin and Frankie Cappan III. And then, just when it seemed the field might finally stabilize, the PGA Tour Communications Department confirmed on Tuesday afternoon that David Lipsky had also withdrawn, giving Carson Young a spot in the field. That brought the total to 7 withdrawals, with 2 full days still remaining before the first competitive tee shot. Lipsky's withdrawal carried its own painful consequence. By pulling out, he eliminated any realistic chance of qualifying for the Masters. That opportunity is simply gone. Of all the withdrawals, one stands completely apart. Collin Morikawa, ranked number 8 in the official world golf ranking, a 2-time major champion, and one of the genuine pre-tournament favorites, withdrew from the Valero Texas Open because of a lingering back injury, putting his status for next week's Masters in jeopardy. Morikawa hasn't played since withdrawing from the first round of the Players' Championship on March 12th. He played only 1 hole in the first round at TPC Sawgrass before injuring his back during a practice swing on the 11th hole. Here is exactly what he said about that moment at the Players. "I felt fine in warm-up, like no signs of back problems, and teed it up on 11 and took 1 practice swing and I just knew it was gone. Like I just had the feeling before once happened. And I can't swing through it. Trust me, I would play if I could. It's just the worst thing in the world." The 29-year-old had told ESPN's Marty Smith that his back was feeling positive and that he planned to play in San Antonio. He withdrew from the Valero Texas Open shortly before his Tuesday morning tee time in the Pro-Am. The gap between that optimistic statement and that withdrawal tells you everything you need to know about how serious this is. Consider what's at stake. Morikawa ended a 28-month drought without a victory when he won the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am on February 15. He then tied for 7th in the Genesis Invitational and finished solo 5th in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He was building something real, and he has 5 straight top 20 finishes at Augusta National Golf Club, including a tie for 3rd in 2024. The 2-time major champion was considered among the favorites to win his first green jacket. Now he won't compete again until April 9th, if he's able to play at all. All of that chaos created a vacuum, and vacuums in professional golf get filled fast. Heading into the tournament, the spotlight shifted immediately to Tommy Fleetwood, who entered as the betting favorite at plus 400. Fleetwood is ranked number 4 in the official world golf ranking and was one of just 2 top 10 players in the entire Valero field. What made his position even more compelling is the history. In 2024, Fleetwood finished 7th at the Valero Texas Open and then tied for 3rd at the Masters the following week, a career best. He deliberately kept the Valero in his schedule ever since. As he put himself, "It's funny, I play by chance in 2024. I was struggling in Florida, took the next week off, and threw this one into the schedule. I had a great week. I then had a great Masters right after it. It's been part of our year ever since." He also won his first PGA Tour event last August at the Tour Championship, ending a stretch that included 43 PGA Tour top 10 finishes before finally breaking through. He followed that with a dominant Ryder Cup performance in September at Bethpage Black and a win at the DP World India Championship in October. Fleetwood arrived in San Antonio as the clear favorite, carrying real momentum. But halfway through the tournament, the story belongs entirely to Robert MacIntyre. The Scottish lefty has turned the Valero Texas Open into something that feels less like a tune-up and more like a coronation in progress. MacIntyre opened with a 66 in round 1, quietly positioning himself near the top, while Huard led the field with a 65. Then came Friday, and MacIntyre went to a completely different level. He shot an 8 under 64, the low round of the tournament, following up his opening round to reach a 36-hole aggregate of 14 under par, 130. That score set the lowest opening 36-hole mark since the Valero Texas Open moved to TPC San Antonio in 2010. MacIntyre, who started on the back 9 for his second round, charged out of the gate with a birdie at his first hole and a 7-foot eagle at the par, 514. He finished with birdies on 4 of his final 5 holes on the more difficult front 9. What made the difference was his finish, with all 4 birdies from 10 feet or closer. That built a 4-stroke lead over Ludvig Aberg at the halfway point. MacIntyre didn't add the Valero to his schedule by accident. "I didn't play last year, just went straight into Augusta. This was an adjustment for that reason," he said. "I wanted to be sharp, or sharper, going into Augusta." He's already exempt for the Masters, so there are no qualification stakes for him this week. This is purely about form, confidence, and timing. His personal life is also at a high point right now. He's a new dad, welcoming a baby boy, Finley, who arrived in late January. "I don't know if life has ever been better," he said. He also has unfinished business on the course. In 2025, he finished second at the U.S. Open and built a big 36-hole lead at the BMW Championship, only for Scottie Scheffler to nip him at the end. This week, he has a chance to prove he can close one out. And there's another angle worth watching. Akshay Bhatia won the Valero in 2024. Brian Harman won it in 2025. Both are left-handed. MacIntyre is going for 3 consecutive left-handed winners at TPC San Antonio. 4 shots behind MacIntyre sits Ludvig Aberg, who shot back-to-back 67s and is alone in second. Aberg holed out a wedge from 120 yards for eagle on the par 4-6 hole during round 2. The 2 Ryder Cup teammates were grouped together for both rounds. "We get on really well," MacIntyre said. "It's good to play with good players, and you can kind of build in a round." Aberg acknowledged the bigger picture clearly. "For me, golf is about putting yourself in situations where you can win tournaments. I feel like I haven't really done that very well the last 12 months or so, but starting to see it now." Tony Finau, who hasn't missed the Masters since 2017, entered round 2 just 1 shot off the lead, then had 3 bogeys and 6 holes at the start. He battled back with a clutch 35-foot eagle putt on the par, 5/18 to salvage a 69, but sits 5 shots behind MacIntyre. "It was nice to make an eagle on the last," Finau said. "Sometimes those are the small little breaks that you need to be towards the top of the leaderboard." Huard provided the sharpest cautionary tale of the week. He led the entire field after round 1 with a 65, 1 shot ahead of MacIntyre, and then shot a stunning 77 in round 2, making the cut on the number at 2 under 142. He went from 1 shot ahead to 12 shots behind in a single day. Also sitting 5 shots back at 9 under are Kevin Roy, Bud Cauley, and Thorbjørn Olesen, all still mathematically alive with 36 holes remaining. What happens this weekend in San Antonio matters far beyond trophy. The Masters begins April 9th, and right now the leaderboard at the Valero is actively reshaping who arrives at Augusta National with momentum and who arrives with questions. MacIntyre wins this week, and he walks through the gates of Augusta as the hottest player in professional golf. He already has the course management, the temperament, and the game for major contention. The weekend forecast calls for rain and wind in San Antonio, and, as he said himself, "I feel like growing up in conditions helps." Aberg finishes top 5 or better, and he becomes one of the most dangerous names on any Masters board. He's young, fearless, and already plays like a future major champion on any given week. Morikawa remains the largest question mark of all. He hasn't competed since March 12th. He won't play again until April 9th at the earliest. His 5 consecutive top 20 finishes at Augusta National, including a tie for 3rd in 2024, make him impossible to dismiss. But a back injury that won't let you finish a Pro-Am tee time is not something you simply shake off in 1 week of rest. Fleetwood set up the same 2024 template again. Valero tune-up followed by a Masters charge. Whether that formula repeats is now one of the central questions heading into the first major of 2026. The Texas Open is not just the last stop before Augusta. Right now, it is the story. And with 36 holes still to play, it is far from over.